or what is the general consensus? If I don't know if you have a general consensus about this, but with someone who has like some like they're doing some sort of side hustle, is that considered
Mm.
like a red flag for a company because they're like, oh, this person might not stay as long, or how does a company take that?
I think that will definitely depend from company to company. At Mindvalley, we love it when people have side hustles, honestly, because to us that really shows that they're very entrepreneurial, that they're really good at problem solving, that they're also probably good at like time management and productivity if they can manage a full-time job and a side hustle at the same time. So for us, that's always a good sign. And sometimes you could even use your side hustle as a way to like further display how you're a good skill fit, especially if like you're making an industry change. Like most of your professional experiences has been in like accounting, but your side hustle is related to social media marketing. So that might be your way into like transferring into like more of a marketing industry, and you can use that to sell it. But yeah, like I think it'll depend, if it's a more traditional company or if they kind of have a company culture that's a bit more stiff or conservative, maybe they wouldn't be as interested in the side hustle. But if it's an entrepreneurial company, if it's a startup, I think they would love to see that kind of initiative.
Yeah. I guess my thoughts on that is if that company is not okay with side hustles, for me, like I would be questioning their culture of like,
Mm,
is this going to be a place where I'm actually going to enjoy being in, right?
mm,
If I can't have another way of expressing myself or doing something I love, and if majority of the people there are probably not doing something like that, can I actually connect with these people as well as I could?
mm.
So that to me is almost like a red flag for the company, right?
Yeah, if that's something that you value, obviously you want to make sure that you're applying to companies that have a culture that you could really see yourself thriving in, and like ideally that you would stay in for long term, right? So if one thing that you value is having more entrepreneurial attitude or having the freedom to pursue your passion projects, then yeah, I would definitely say that's a red flag if they're not okay with it.
So we actually have a question here,
Okay.
or not really a question, but it's just from Vinci here. Attitude is more important, and I guess is, I mean, let's just talk about attitude versus skill. Uh,
Mm.
where do you see that?
That's a great question, actually. So I think when the roles are more entry level, or like don't really require a whole lot of experience, I definitely think attitude is super important. And this is especially true at Mindvalley for some of our entry level roles. Like we would almost rather you come in with like only like a year's worth of work experience, but be a super like culture fit, value fit, really demonstrate a lot of the values that we like embrace here at Mindvalley, than like seeing a CV that has like a person that's done that for like 5+ years, but they're not a culture fit at all. Because to us, like usually, like attitude and like your values, those aren't always things that can be trained. Those are oftentimes like innate, or like you can kind of coach them, but it takes a lot of investment. Whereas skills can be trained. That said, like obviously there are going to be exceptions. If you're wanting to apply to like a very senior role or like a manager role, like you are going to need some kind of experience in that. And that's not to say like, oh, you have a bad attitude, so you can never like, or like you like your attitude isn't strong enough, or like, oh, anything like that. But sometimes you do need a little bit of like professional experience for those higher level roles, just because otherwise you're going to feel quite lost without it. So yeah, I would say like, just double check and like ask yourself honestly, like, is this role like entry level or more junior? If so, then probably, yeah, it might be fine to just have the attitude really strong and less skills. But if it's more technical or like more senior, then you are going to need a little bit of professional background.
Nice.
Nice. I just want to ask a question here. So,
Sure.
like we keep talking about selling ourselves to the company, right? Like
Mm.
presenting yourself, sounding
Mm.
sexy, attractive. Is there a situation where the company will then kind of sell themselves to us, right?
Always.
Maybe, right? Like at the fourth interview, or how does that work? Like, how do we kind of manage that relationship, right? We're all negotiating, right, at that point in time.
Mhm.
So yeah, how do we kind of manage through that process? Probably is it at the last phase of the interview, like the last few interviews? How does that work?
I mean, if the company knows what they're doing, they should be selling themselves from the minute that you apply, honestly. Like that's something that we've been working on a lot at Mindvalley, really working on our employer branding and really putting ourselves out there on LinkedIn, on making our career website look super sexy. Even in the culture screening, what I often do, that very first interview that we have with candidates, I actually do that with more of the entry-level positions. And after I hear their elevator pitch about who they are and where they come from, I also give a little bit of a pitch about Mindvalley and about like the team that they're applying to and like what's the context of the role that they're applying to. So that way they know like, oh, right off the bat, like, is this exciting to me or not? And I like give them so much time to ask questions because I want to make sure that, you know, they're not waiting until the last interview to figure out if they like the company or not. Like they should be thrilled and excited from the first interview. Obviously, not every company might be like that, but I would say most of the good companies are trying to sell themselves from the very beginning. But yeah, there might be a little bit of back and forth throughout all the interviews, especially in the last interview. You know, usually that'll be more of like, you know, final checks to make sure you're a good fit, but also like really like making sure that you're really interested and you're ready to take the offer as soon as we give it to you. So it's something to expect. One thing that I always like to tell myself, especially when, you know, I'm on the opposite side and I have to apply for jobs, is, you know, if I'm ever feeling nervous about going into an interview or something like that, thinking about the fact that they're also very desperate to find the right fit, right? Like I want this job, I'm desperate for this job, but they're also looking for someone to solve their problems. That's the whole reason why they have this job opening. So they're probably also like nervous and anxious and like looking for the perfect person. So I always try to like remind myself that. It helps me calm down, and then it makes me like try to reframe it like, okay, I'm going to be that person. I am going to be the one that's going to solve all their problems. I'm exactly what they're looking for. And now I just have to show them that. It always helps me a lot.
Cool, thanks. And
Hey, this is CS from More Money Malaysia. We are a platform dedicated to helping Malaysians like you make smart financial decisions. And the way we do that is through providing you with actionable advice, such as the video you just saw, right? But we're not here just to become your intellectual entertainment. We really do want to see you succeed, because we want to see you live that ultimate life that you've always dreamt of, right? And in order for us to do that, what we've decided to do is we want to help make it easier for you by providing different types of rewards throughout the months. So make sure you check out the description below, click on that link and see what type of reward you might be able to qualify for by taking action right now. And if you have any other questions about any of this, feel free to contact us wherever you find us. Take care.